My name is Cody Carlson. I'm 31 years old, a husband, a dad, someone who tries to do the right thing when he can. This is my wife Kim, and this is my daughter Bo. Bo's almost 3 and she means everything to me. Like a lot of kids her age, she has limitless energy, curiosity, and love, especially for animals. I've always loved animals too. This is me at 13 with my best friend Pal. I remember reading back then about a fast food chain that was suing people for criticizing the conditions on the farms where they bought their meat. I remember wondering, why are they so afraid of people finding out the truth? Flash forward a few years, I come across this video taken undercover at a factory farm by a group called Mercy for Animals. I had never seen footage like that before. I didn't want to believe that things were really that bad. So I thought about it for a while and decided something. I'd become an undercover investigator myself. I'd get jobs at farms and wear a hidden camera to work each day to record what was going on around me. Above all, I was curious. I wanted to see if things on these farms were really as bad as they look in all those online videos. What I saw changed my life. And I know it's hard to watch, but I want you to please stick with me here so you can see what I saw and so you can know what everyone should know. One of the first jobs I had was at a pig farm. Pigs are some of the most intelligent animals on earth, even smarter than cats and dogs. Like dogs, they have dreams when they sleep at night. They understand their names and will come running when you call. They love a good belly rub, and once you're their friend, they'll remember you for years. But what I and my fellow investigators found when we went to work at dozens of pig farms was heartbreaking. Here's where most piglets are born, in filthy concrete pens inside giant, dark warehouses. This was Nicole. Sick and injured piglets like Nicole are left to suffer and slowly die. They get no veterinary attention. No one cares. No one tries to help them. When Nicole died, she was thrown away like garbage. Piglets who don't grow fast enough are killed by being slammed headfirst into the ground or by being gassed to death. The rest have their tails chopped off and their testicles cut out without any pain relief, all in front of the piglets' mothers who struggle helplessly to stop it. Nicole's mom, like most other pigs, spent nearly her entire life locked in a metal cage so small she could literally not turn around. It sounds like a form of medieval torture, but factory farmers do it to millions of innocent pigs each year. Pigs often go insane, banging their heads against the bars or lying motionless on the ground. At just 6 months old, pigs are transported, stunned with electrical tongs, hung upside down, and have their throats slit. We investigated farm after farm all over the country. It didn't matter. All of these practices came standard. After working there, I knew that I would never eat pigs again, or any other animal. I understood now why millions of people have stopped eating meat. I understand why the amount of meat we eat is going down year after year, because what's going on these farms, it can't continue. You want a better world for your kid. You want the world to be nice and beautiful. And it isn't always that way. But each of us has the choice to say, I am not going to be a part of that cruelty. I am not going to pay for it. If we don't pay for it, farmers won't breed those animals. So all that cruelty I just showed you, that goes away. Maybe not for all animals, but at least for some of them. And not just pigs. Chickens are surprisingly smart, and their personalities vary just like cats and dogs. Scientists have found that they think about the future and pass knowledge down to their chicks. Plus, let's be honest, they're also super cute. But what I and my fellow investigators saw when we went to work at major hatcheries, egg farms, and poultry farms is almost beyond belief. This is a typical egg industry hatchery, and these are workers separating the boy chicks from the girls. And this is Ryan. Because boys like Ryan will never lay eggs, he was of no use to the egg industry. So Ryan was dropped, alive and fully conscious, into a giant grinding machine at just a few days old. This was like seeing something straight out of a horror film. only it was real. And it was going on every single day. This is standard practice in the egg industry. Our cameras rolled as we watched female chicks get their beaks sliced off. My job was to help pack hens into the filthy wire cages where they would spend the rest of their lives. Every day I walked the aisles, pulling out the bodies of hundreds of dead birds. Those that survived often had their skin rubbed raw by the cage bars, or their feet mangled by the wire floors. Chickens and turkeys raised for meat don't have it so good either. Most have been genetically manipulated to grow so fat so fast that they suffer heart attacks and crippling pain at just a few weeks old. Sick or injured hens get no attention. No one cares, no one helps. Many die slowly and painfully. We watch them too be tossed away like garbage. At the slaughterhouse, birds have their throats slit. Many are scalded alive in tanks of searing hot water.
Welcome there, Cody. Great to see you. Tell us about some of the things that you've seen, some of the things that you've heard.
Well, going in, it's almost generous to refer to places like these as farms. They're more of a factory or a industrial assembly line, almost like a scene from The Matrix. The last thing I expected was to have the cameras turned on me. It started because of so-called ag-gag laws. These are laws being pushed by factory farmers that would make it a crime to take video on their farms. This footage that you're watching right now, they don't think that you should have the right to see it. They don't want you to know. I don't particularly like having the camera on me, but it's been good to be able to share my experience, because these are things that people need to know about, like my time working on a dairy farm in upstate New York. Cows have great memories. They can remember a face for years. Maybe that's because they're so outgoing. Most cows have a best friend and a group they prefer to hang out with, almost like a high school clique. But as I found out, cows on most modern farms spend their lives packed into filthy concrete stalls or crammed into small mud lots. Their tails are cut off without painkillers, and workers often beat, stab, and kick cows to get them to move. We saw this happen all the time. What I remember most about the dairy farm I worked at were the babies. The standard practice is to immediately separate them from their mom just a day or two after they're born. Many are chained by the neck in solitary pens. At the farm I was at, these calves were often freezing to death. I mean, literally. I remember sitting down with one calf and spending some time with her. When I got up to leave, she started bellowing after me. I came back later in the day to check on her, and she was dead. That's pretty much the way things went there. Fish are also intelligent and social animals. Some of them even rub up against one another for pleasure, like a cat rubbing against your leg. And scientists have learned that they feel pain and suffer like any other animal. They just don't have the vocal cords to scream. Today, many fish are raised on massive fish farms, crowded, waste-filled pools where they're packed so tightly together that they can barely move. And as we found out at this processing plant, they're often skinned alive and cut into pieces while still fully conscious. Even wild-caught fish endure a miserable death, which can take up to half an hour as they slowly suffocate or are crushed beneath the weight of the other fish. Now that I have a family, those days are behind me. Being an undercover investigator totally changed my life. It gave me a purpose, a direction. I went to law school, and now I'm a lawyer working on behalf of animals. And ditching meat and other animal products has been great. It's one of the best decisions I've ever made. Plus, it's so easy now. There are meat-free versions of everything at the grocery store. And restaurants have tons of vegetarian options, especially ethnic restaurants like Chinese, Mexican, and Italian. Knowing that thanks to your choice, dozens of animals won't suffer this year, that's a great feeling. Like I said, we all want a better world for our kids. A more caring world. A gentler world. People like you and me, we might not be able to change everything, but we can look at what's happening on these farms and say, I'm not going to be a part of that cruelty. We can be happy and healthy, enjoy delicious food, and do everything we want in life without hurting animals, without killing them. You can start with small steps, like cutting poultry out of your diet first, and then moving on to pork and eggs, and on from there. Making the change is one of the best decisions of my life. If you try it and give it a few months, I think you'll feel the same way too. Thanks for listening.